There we go. Figured it out. We figured out the technology. We're all set. Appreciate you guys coming and visiting with us today. Some of you I know were in the previous session, so really appreciate you guys sticking it out with us and joining the conversation. What we wanted to talk about today is, have you ever thought about what's possible? What is possible with gaming? What is possible with engaging with your users, your consumers at the end of the day? How do you generate more loyalty? And think about some of these questions, and that's what we're here to talk about today. I'm Berkley Egenes, the Chief Marketing Officer at Xsolla. We're a video game commerce company where we help games fund, market, sell, and launch their games around the world. Headquartered in Los Angeles, we have our core belief system is making games available to everyone around the world. We believe in longevity, opportunity, and creating vision, and then helping everybody. You'll see us around the venue here to enjoy the game. We partner with incredible teams, incredible opportunities, and this is one where Chris and Mastercard that we partnered on together.
Thanks, Berkley. Hi, everyone. My name's Chris Lamorte. I work for Mastercard and responsible for growing our relationships and our revenue in the gaming segment across Europe. For those of you who don't know, Mastercard is a technology company. We're trusted and known all around the world. We have a vision to power economies, to empower people, and to build sustainable economies everywhere. And we do that through our global platform, our innovative solutions, and we do it through our strategic partnerships, one of which we're very proud of is the one that we have with Xsolla, and that's why we're here today. So just a little bit about Mastercard in gaming. So we see an industry that's growing significantly, 600 billion estimated over the next 5 years, 3 billion people game, everybody's gaming, kids, social, economic, different groups, male, female, all ages. So it's a huge opportunity. And importantly, it's at the forefront of technology often, and there's no reason why payment innovation shouldn't be at the forefront of that as well. Mastercard has a long history in the gaming space. We started connecting people with their passion through our traditional sports sponsorships, UEFA Champions League in Europe, and that evolved into esports, primarily through a relationship that we started with Riot about six or 7 years ago, where we became the official partner of League of Legends. That's extended to Valorant. We then looked at COVID happened, and we saw that people couldn't go out, they couldn't do what they normally do, so they started gaming, and we saw the growth of gaming. That's where people went to engage, to socialize, to meet, and to spend. And we saw the complexity around payments just changed. We've got subscriptions, we've got micropayments, we've got in-game purchases, skins, leveling up, etc. And we realized that some of the challenges that we see in that online space around payments is even more heightened in gaming, because there's friction in the online experience. But for gaming, you want to be there to play. You're in the game. You don't want to be out of it. It's something that you're passionate about, and you want to stay doing it. So, taking a look, we realized, speaking to the industry, speaking to developers, speaking to publishers, speaking to some of the big digital partners that we work with, we realized there's some challenges there that we can meet. And then we met Xsolla and realized they're really a kindred spirit in what they want to do in terms of how they want to help the ecosystem commercialize games, how they want to address some of these pain points. And together, we feel we've got a great opportunity to really drive value to all stakeholders within the ecosystem, from gamers, developers, publishers. So we did that by talking to the industry. We spoke to gamers and really identified some key challenges. And firstly, 40% of gamers are telling us that there's too much friction in the online space. When you're trying to make a transaction online, there's too much friction. And we see that in traditional e-com, of course, but in gaming, as I said, it's heightened, because you're there to play, you're there to game, you're not there to spend time taking multiple steps to execute transactions. You want to get back doing what you're passionate about. 30% of people say gaming, it's not transactions are not smooth, right? We can simplify that process together. That's, again, traditional in e-commerce, but we can do that by partnering. We've got some solutions today that we want to talk to you about. And related to that, there's just too many steps. You don't want to be doing multiple checks. You don't want to get through the process of deciding you want to make a payment, and then you can't, for whatever reason. You can't find the card, you don't want to put in your details, that there's a high abandonment rate. We don't want that. We want it to be slick and smooth and simple and get people back gaming, doing what they want to do. So we realized there's opportunities. All those challenges, there's opportunities. And we realized that 70% of gamers are telling us that they would happily pay with points. If they had the opportunity to play with points, something that they know, that they're familiar with. We see it in lots of other industries, airlines, hotel, retailers, but they're typically tied to a merchant. So if you go and spend in a hardware store and you can accumulate points, then in a future transaction, you might get a bit of discount off that paint or that good that you're buying. And that's great. You like the discount, but it's not really connected to something that you're interested in, that you're passionate about. And we see that elsewhere in industries where this is available, people spend there's 3 times more likely to make a transaction. So they're also telling us that 30% they would spend more with points. So not only would they spend more frequently, but they would spend more if they could use the points that were available. And 44% are saying that they'd switch payment providers. If they're loyal to the game, they're loyal to the platform, but they're not loyal to the payment method. If you can offer a payment solution that gives you value in the game, in something you're passionate about, people will happily switch to that, and that's what they're telling us. So working with Xsolla, we realized we can help reduce some of this friction that we see in this online experience for gamers, and Berkley's going to talk you through how we're going to do that.
So one of the big questions is, how is this possible? How does this work? What's the user flow to go through this experience? So a little demonstration here, you go into it. So just like any other transaction that you normally would have from a gaming perspective, you're making a purchase of the game online, or you're buying a skin or a bundle or a subscription, you go to the store, essentially from the user perspective, go to the store, make your selection on your game, go put that game, click that buy button, go into your cart, and then have your options of what you want to select and what's your payment method. If you are a Mastercard user, you set it up as your profile in your preferred method of payment. It will automatically show up in our PayStation solution, that interface that you would look at and see, and you would have the option, and with a one-click confirmation, and go, okay, I can make this transaction, and it's $100 as an example, or 100 euros. Here, and then you would have the choice, would you like to use that from a payments perspective? Because as Chris was talking about, you normally think, somebody in here might have paid for their flight and miles here, or they're paying for the hotel with miles and points perspective, but you usually think about that and it's thousands of points. It's 25,000 points. It's 50,000. It's getting more expensive sometimes to use that. But from a microtransaction, and what this is literally going to change the game, is to use points from a microtransaction perspective. As a parent, as an example, as a use case, your kid has a great report card for the term, and you're like, here you go. Here's 100 points that you could go use to buy whatever you want online, but they're going to go to what they have a passion about. They're going to come into their game, and then be able to use that as a method of payment. It helps you out from a parent perspective and know what's being paid for, and from that use case, being able to verify that from a controls perspective and have it very seamless, very simple.
And if you think about that today, how do you gift someone something? In a lot of markets, you have to go to a convenience store, you buy a gift card, you take that home, you put it in the card, you give it to someone for a birthday or special occasion. They take that card, they scratch off the code, they take the voucher code, they go online, they tap it in online, and then they can start accessing. That is not a slick process by any stretch, but not for gamers who want to be able to do it in real time. So that's the friction that we're talking about in gifting, and we feel we've got a solution that can address that.
And it just breaks it down even further. It's like, so you see in bigger screens, is like selecting the payment method. And then where you see in a lot of accounts, particularly if you're making airline purchases or you're making a hotel purchases or reservations, to be able to see that. And you would see your account balance that's already pulled through there. And it's like, you had 150,000 points. Would you like to use points for this transaction? When you have a value of that, it's a no-brainer to use 100 points to go make this purchase from a game perspective. And then, as Chris was talking about before, the potential of not only making that transaction an use case of that, where they're going to see is higher transactions that are being made. You're like, oh, I can use 100, but I was actually looking at this other bundle pack that was another $50 or another 50 euros. Normally wouldn't have made that transaction, but if we can, the dream getting to one-to-one. 1 point equals $1 or €1, depending on where you're located, to be able to have that exchange, and in your head to be able to, it's a simplified process to go, okay, that was just another 50 points. That's not going to get me closer to a hotel. It's not that big of a deal when I'm going to buy the hardware store, I'm paying for my gas, or I'm paying for utility bills at home, and you're accumulating points with your Mastercard to be able to come across and make that purchase and go, okay, wow. It's a seamless transaction, not only from the process, but from the mental buyer acuity, what you're looking at making that purchase.
Yeah. So you're giving payment choice at the checkout process because you're enabling to pay with points, but you're accumulating those points through everyday spend. So you have a Mastercard, you go to the cinema, you go to the store, you put fuel in your car, you buy groceries. That is spend that's going through the Mastercard network, and you're accumulating those points. And what we're able to do with Xsolla is give you the option to use those points or gift those points in the in-game environment. So you can make an in-game purchase very simply without really being out of the game for too long at all. Right? You're in it, you're gaming, you're having fun, you want to level up, you want to buy a skin, you do it quickly, it's seamlessly, it's secure, it's safe, and then you're back in the game doing what you're there to enjoy.
Exactly. And then this works from a cross-platform perspective. If you're looking at mobile and you're making purchases on a web shop, you're in a PC game or online or cloud-based game, to make all that possible. And just simplify. That's one of the things that we believe in, like simplifying the process. As a developer, you're able to customize your checkout experience, but to be able to offer this and take that one step further. And because it's ultimately, you'll hear a lot of buzzwords, you'll hear a lot about direct to consumer, a lot of direct to users, and how do you market to them. You deliver value. That's what they keep coming back over and over, and they make more purchases, increase that average revenue per purchase, per checkout process from your business, and it helps you out in the long run. So, why does this matter? One, to expand your reach. Mastercard, we wanted to partner with somebody from a global perspective to be able to reach out and make that available to your users around the world. You might be a game developer from Cologne and be able to get that and to be able to reach out to players in the States or in Latin America or in different places around the world where Mastercard's widely accepted, and that's a payment method of choice to be able to provide that. And so you're able to reach more players from around the world, and you can use the checkout with points. Conversion rates, using points, boost that conversion. You're going to see the higher revenue per transaction. You're going to see higher purchases being made by using points. It's always a friction point. It's like you get into that buyer's remorse and you get into the checkout. It's like, do I want to make this checkout happen real quick here? And there's we have things you hear in retail or even in e-commerce, cart abandonment happens. This will improve your conversion rates. Having that additional opportunity, consider another payment method. Even though it's MasterCard, you can either make that purchase with your credit card, but already use the points. And then driving loyalty. That's what this is all about. We wanted loyalty. People keep coming back to your game, keep engaging with your game, making purchases, and then that boost, your monthly active users as you use that as a metric to go forward from your game. And so you're going to see that success metric and have that capabilities and continue to push. And that's kind of the wrap on what we have to offer. We'd love to take some questions, dialogue in here. I know I'll get us started, but one of them is when can I get started? And so these are the conversations that we want to have with each of you. And we've been doing this roadshow since February of this year and having this conversation around the world to get people to sign up for this program, to get involved, because there are many, many opportunities to get involved. So we're looking here at the end of Q3 and into Q4, we have the first games accepting points in the gaming experience.
And we're also engaged with the banks that put the cards in the gamer's hand to bring them to the table as well. So they're aware of the opportunity. They're bought into the understanding of the gaming industry, the passion that the gamers bring, and really see the opportunity as we see the opportunity, and have them wanting to be connected to the platform that underpins this. It's in real time. It's something it's revolutionary for gaming, but it's not revolutionary for payments. It's technology that works successfully in lots of other industries, but we're bringing it into the great gaming context. So banks understand and are familiar with how it works, what it does. A lot of them in Europe particularly are using the platform already. We just need to to be able to work with them to switch it on also for the for this user case. And as Berkley said, that's coming through the second half of this year in Europe, earlier in other regions, and later in some other regions as well.
Yeah.
How do you think this can apply to mobile? Do you have this kind of deals with Google or Apple? Like people should be paying with coins too?
So do you want to talk about the?
Yeah, I'll actually take that
PlayStation?
one because it's what we're seeing too is with Apple and Google and all the different policies in terms of service, and what we're seeing is if you can build a web shop from an online perspective, is to be able to provide unique offers and incentives for your mobile players online and then attach it to your player account and play in game. Not only you're seeing more users come into the game, but they're also making purchases in the app while they're playing. They're like, hey, you might have introduced them to this game, gave you a unique opportunity, plug into your player account and go make that exist, and then do the transaction normally using the Apple Pay or Google Pay when they go into it. So when a player connects those accounts up, and they're going to do that from online and then in the app, then it's a seamless experience that's where we come in and we can help that possible, make that connected on the back end.
So on Xsolla's platform, they have the checkout experience, the pay station. This is where that's going to be plugged into. So if you're on that platform, if the developers are on that platform, if that's where the gamers interact with, then that's where this functionality will be available. And that's the partnership that we've created, and we're really excited about.
Good question.
So if you're earning the loyalty points based on real life spend with Mastercard, does it work the other way, where if your gamers are being rewarded for playing the game with in-game rewards, that they can then convert those points into fiat currency to spend in real life? Does it go both ways, or?
So at the moment, it's just the one way. It's you spend on your card, you accumulate points. Those points can be used for in-game purchases through Xsolla. There are lots of other user cases that we're looking at as well. Some are easier and some are more complex, but that's a user case that we're looking at to have that two-way. But that's more of a roadmap item that we're looking at. And there's also lots of things outside of this loyalty offering payment choice that we're working with Xsolla on. And that's what's great about the partnership from our perspective, is there's a set of complementary capabilities. Xsolla have the relationships with the industry, they have the platform, they have the gamers, and we have the Mastercard has experience in payment innovation and how we can bring that to the gaming space. So that's why the partnership is great. It's had a really great start. We've focused on this user case we're talking to you about today, but there are lots of others that we're very excited about, and that will form a very extensive roadmap that our teams are working on together.
Cool. Any other questions? We're going to be around and we'll stick out on the hallway, but we want to just leave you with these last thoughts. Is like, we're always challenging like what's possible. How do we can make your jobs a lot easier? You can go focus on creating something amazing and create a beautiful gaming experience, and then leave the non-sexy stuff essentially to us and to help from a payments perspective, but so that you can monetize your game, grow to different regions and make that possible. And this is one thing, you think of it like we've been dealing with points for years and years and years in daily life and like what's going on, but you always earn up for a flight, and you always had to think about and plan things ahead. But to change, this is going to revolutionize not only just gaming, but where we're going to take from an e-commerce perspective as you think going forward, because people think larger numbers, but to bring this to a microtransaction, it's going to significantly change the course of e-commerce and gaming experiences as we go forward, and it's going to do it on a global level. We're really excited about the potential. So if you're interested in joining up and being part of the early program on here, we are absolutely going to talk and see how we can do it. Like we talked about, it's cross-platform. We can work in any environment, any genre game inside experience. And I know we're also both hiring, so looking at that to join into the fun going into it. But we hope you have a great show. enjoy the game, and come stop by. We'll be here at the DDC here from a booth downstairs, and we'll be also for the next 3 days over at Gamescom. Happy to have some conversations with you guys. But thank you very much for joining.
Thanks, everyone.